foster family.
Hi everybody, my name is Brent. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about foster parenting, and specifically my family's experiences with foster parenting over the last couple of years. We actually first got interested in foster parenting several years ago, back in 2006. We adopted our son Robert from Boston, and he spent his first 4 weeks of life living with two foster parents, a mother and daughter, and they really grew to fall in love with him in those first 4 weeks. Well, we went back home. Robbie was our only son for a while. After about 3 years, we realized, you know what, we need some more kids. We want some more kids in our life. And so we thought about adoption. But adoption was going to be too expensive at the time, so it wasn't going to work out. We thought we were going to have to wait. Well, my wife was driving down the street one day, and she saw a billboard advertising foster parenting through Christian Heritage. And she came home, she said, Brent, what do you think about this? And I had never really given it much thought about us doing it, but I thought, sure, what the heck. And so we started foster parent training classes with Christian Heritage. We went twice a week, 3 hours per class. That went on for several weeks. They were very honest with us about the ups and downs of foster parenting. They were very comprehensive about the sorts of things they covered. After we got finished with the classes, then we had to wait a couple months for some bureaucratic red tape sorts of things, background checks, all of that good stuff. Until finally, on June 28, 2010, we got a phone call saying that our foster care license was in the mail. 3 hours later, we got a second phone call saying the two boys were in a car on their way to our house. And my wife said, sure, bring them on over. I happened to be in Ohio at the time, but I came back to meet Joey, age 7, and Kishore, age 3, there in the middle. Now, those early days were very confusing. We didn't know what we were doing. The kids didn't really know what was going on. KBC was taking over foster care cases from Cedars, who had dropped out effective July 1. It was a big mess. Also come to find out that our case was infamous. These boys had been in the system for years, Kishore for his entire life. And Joey, actually, as it turned out, has some severe behavioral disorders. And he was on a tremendous amount of medication, so much medication, in fact, that at night he turned into sort of a drooling zombie. So we were a little out of our comfort zone. Well, Joey's behaviors didn't show up until about 5 weeks later, and then they showed up with a vengeance. He would go into these rages that would make Linda Blair proud. It was very frightening for us. It made Kishore locked up inside. Our son Robbie didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going on. Pretty soon things got really bad. School started. We couldn't take Joey out in public because we never knew if he was going to be an angel or a monster at any given time. It was a very scary time. It was stressing our family, and it was stressing our marriage. And so finally my wife and I, we stepped back and we said, you know what? Either these kids go because they're tearing things apart, or we fully commit to them, we take them in as our children, and we give them everything. We chose the latter. Now, that's when we got feisty, okay? We got feisty with Joey, with KBC, with HHS, with doctors, with everybody. We tried to be more confident, more blunt, and we actually started to see results. Unfortunately, shortly after that is when HHS decided to hand over all of the foster care services locally to KBC. Those of you who follow it know that did not go well. It was a disaster. But we sort of developed a dark sense of humor that got us through that, and again, our feistiness. Spring 2011 started to get better. We made little bits of progress. Joey had a new doctor, new medication, new therapeutic strategies. Kishore came out of his bubble. He's very bright. He's very active. KBC and HHS, well, any of you who've read the state auditor's report know how that goes. Coming into the summer of 2011, we were starting to be a family despite all of the uncertainties that were going on in our life. And in June, the county attorney filed for termination of parental rights with a hearing scheduled for October. We never made it to October, though. In September, their mother just out of nowhere said, you know what, I'm going to relinquish parental rights. 6 weeks later, she actually signed the papers. The two fathers also signed the papers. And so all of a sudden, this case, which had involved dozens of people, thousands of hours, and literally hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars, was over. And the boys were free for adoption. And so we did just that. On December 22nd, 2011, in a courtroom filled with our family and friends, we adopted the boys, and we became Now, that's the end of this part of our story. But the story's now done for you folks. We need your help. We need you to be foster parents. We need money, clothing, and supplies for these foster kids who often come into the system with nothing. But more than anything, we need you to contact your representatives, get involved, let them know what you think, and how they can do better for these kids. Thank you.